I'm Alex, and these are my overly ambitious reading goals for 2023. In 2022, I read 108 books, and 50 of them, or about 50, were fiction. The rest were non-fiction. And straight off the bat, one change that I really want to make is I want to read more fiction. And by that I mean a greater proportion fiction. In 2022, I read about 2 books a week, which was, to be honest, fairly manageable for me. But potentially where the overly ambitious comes in, this year I would like to try and read 3 books a week, which would take me to 156 books for the year, which sounds like a lot, especially since it's the 19th of January and I've read about 4 books. But I had a slow start last year and picked up, so I'm not too stressed about that. I'm not too worried. Can make up for it later in the year. And as I said, I do want to read more fiction this year because I read a lot of non-fiction. And while I enjoyed it, and it was great, I just feel like there's stuff I'm missing out from. And in fiction, you can learn just as much, if not more, than non-fiction. More than just fiction. I want to try and read more modern fiction. Because I think the majority of the books, well, if not all the books I read are classics in terms of fiction. And the most recent book was probably Journey Under the Midnight Sun, which I think came out in the late 90s. So, yeah, not really any books in the 21st century that I've read. Probably the last one I read was Girl on the Train. I think that's what it's called. Girl on the Train. And I read that when it came out, when the film came out. So in 2016, 2017. And I really enjoyed it. But I just always go back to the classics. I trust them more. You know, they've been around for that long. Got to be worth something. But maybe it's time to step outside the comfort zone and at least read one, modern fiction book. Let's say from the 2020s. At least one of them. Going in the opposite direction of that, in regards to fiction, I would like to read more Shakespeare. I'm slowly building my Shakespeare collection. I think I've got Julius Caesar, Merchant of Venice, Richard II, Antony and Cleopatra, Henry V, and Macbeth. But I'm very picky about the copies that I have. I like to have certain styles and certain publication ones that I really liked. Or if they're just old hardbacks that, that gets me going too. So I'd like to expand the collection and through that read more books, not just buy them. So hopefully you can look for Romeo and Juliet, Othello and Hamlet. So some of the great works, maybe Richard III as well, because I did enjoy that one. But that's obviously going to depend on my pickiness and whether I can actually find the copies that I like. Going even further away from modern fiction, I would like to read more of the Greek philosophers. So I have read some Plato and Aristotle, and I've read some Homer, but I don't think I appreciated them as much as other people seem to appreciate them. And I thought, fine, maybe they're just not for me. They're not the philosophers and thinkers that I connect with. I much prefer a Nietzsche or a Seneca to a Plato or Aristotle. But then I read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance towards actually a couple of weeks ago. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed its discussions, which stemmed from the Greek philosophers. And it just made me want to give them another chance. I enjoyed that book. I enjoy how Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, composed the thoughts of the Greek philosophers. So, maybe it was me. Maybe, it probably was me, that I just didn't read them at the right time, didn't give them enough attention. And so this year I want to try and do that and to better understand specifically Aristotle, Plato and Homer. Finally, I want to get through my physical TBR. Now mine is really not big. It's only about 24 books because I'm pretty good at just going through and reading everything that I own and then going and buying more books. Although I'm not perfect. What I'm hoping for is that the books that are currently on it won't be there at the end of the year, but we'll see. So in all honesty, thinking about the goals, it seemed pretty doable. The 3 books a week, maybe not, but we'll see. I think maybe 108 books this year, or last year, maybe 120, 130 should be fairly achievable because I did have some very slow months. In regards to reading more modern fiction, it's just going to be about finding something. So honestly, if anyone's got any recommendations for any genre of modern fiction, let me know, because I have no clue where to start. I'm a classics boy, and yeah, that is my comfort zone. The Shakespeare, that'll be fine, just got to find the right things. It might take a bit of time to find the right volumes, and I'm not going to buy them if I don't like them, but if I do, great. And as for the Greek philosophy, I'm motivated at the moment and keen to do it, so maybe I should take advantage of that, but it'll just take a lot of rereading. They're not long books by Plato and Aristotle. They just take time to digest the information, to think about it, and that shouldn't be too bad. I don't want to read any guides or explainers for them, as I like to just read the original text and not have my thoughts shaped in any way. So that's how I go about it. But if I get desperate, even if I get desperate, I'm still just going to try and work through them myself, because it's just how I like to do things. And as for the physical TBR, I know it's going to be there at the end of the year. Who am I kidding? I know I'm going to buy more books, and I'm not going to have read them all, but that is fine. Hopefully it'll be a bit smaller, although 24 is still pretty small, to be honest. And the main thing is that none of the books that are currently on it will be on at the end of the year. But hey, we shall see. So yeah, those are the goals for 2023. Pretty confident. See how it goes. Let me know what your goals are for 2023. Rate my chances, and please do let me know if there are any modern fiction recommendations. I'm really open to it. Don't care about the genre. And I'll see you in the next one.